And welcome our next storyteller to the stage. Welcome, Celeste.
Should I announce? Well, I will. I am from the Bronx. Specify. Okay. So when I was 8 or 9 years old, I was really into this show called Pepper Ann. It was this cartoon about this skinny redhead girl with glasses named Pepper Ann, and she was in the 7th grade and always getting into trouble because of her overactive imagination. And Pepper Ann was really cool to me because she did things like roller skate around town, and she got to go to the arcade with her friends without her mom escorting her there. And like in my 3rd grade mind, like she was living the life. But even cooler than Pepper Ann was Moose. And Moose was this really awesome kid who skateboarded and played sports like I did, and was always there for Pepper Ann whenever she needed. So Moose looked and sounded like any little boy, but Moose was actually Pepper Ann's little sister. And so Moose's gender ambiguity was never addressed in the show, but I really connected with it. And I didn't have the language to understand or express what I was experiencing. And there were other characters in other shows who were coded as queer, like Scar and Lion King, and Bard, and Aladdin, and like Phil and Lil's mom in Rugrats, right? So I identified with those characters, but Moose was special because Moose was, this gender ambiguity was, Moose was the closest thing I had as a little kid to a physical manifestation of how I envisioned myself as this little genderqueer kid. So since then, I just have been really interested in finding reflections of myself any and everywhere I can. And it's this thing I do, and I call it queering things up, right? And so it's just taking something that is not explicitly queer and making it so. So I work with dogs. I'm a dog handler at a dog daycare, and it's just exposed me to this like strange world in which like straight people feel the need to unnecessarily gender and sexualize their dogs. And I'm like really ashamed to admit that like I have spent like probably hours at this point entertaining these people and like, yeah, Nathan and Stella did look really cozy today, or like Breeze, what a slut. Or like, yeah, Pork Chop, such a ladies' man. And a lot of times, no, it is really humorous and often in good fun, but it can be isolating and just a reminder, because if people are willing to be so restrictive and enforce these heteronormative and cisnormative standards on dogs, it's probably really indicative of how they treat these things when it comes to people as well. So I'm in the back one day with one of my coworkers. His name is John. He's this really cool guy, and he like was probably 18 or 19 years old, really young, really awesome, and like always joking around, and he just had this really like bright energy, and I always look forward to shifts with him. Now, we're in the back one day and we're joking about poop, because like when you work with dogs and when you spend a lot of time with a lot of dogs, it's like you just become really desensitized to poop. It's there all the time. Everywhere, it gets on you. So the conversation moved from poop to names, and I told him how I thought it was really cool when dogs had people names like Walter and like today I met a Claudia. It was really, yeah, it's really, I just love that because it's so cute. But so there's this one beagle, and she was like really beautiful, named Charlie, and I just mentioned, and I was like, I think it's so cool that Charlie's name is Charlie, even though she's a girl dog. And he just like, John's face just, Charlie's a girl? But her name, but it's Charlie, like people are weird. And he was just, his reaction was so, and I just wanted to be like, yeah, people are weird, because she's a dog, why are you reacting like that? But, you know, I just kind of mumbled, maybe it's short for Charlotte. And like the relief and understanding that washed over his face when I gave this excuse was just like another reminder of just how even the nicest, most well-meaning people are often like enforced and subscribe to these ideals that are just so oppressive and suffocating. And even when it comes to dogs. So it can be discouraging. But one thing I find myself doing at work is, you know, and I don't know, I think it's reactionary to this aggressive, like, heteronormative, like, just Nathan and Stella, yeah, Pork Chop's a ladies' man. And I just find myself, you know, a while back I was mopping CP, because that happens to with dogs. And I turn around and I see these two dogs getting ready to go at it, this like huge pile of poop. And of course I went over to stop them. But in this brief moment, when I first looked over, I didn't see like dogs about to eat poop, right? The two dogs were this beautiful English setter, Emmy. She's really sweet. And then Matilda is this like awesome like hound mix, and she's got this great like red color. And I just see, you know, instead of seeing the two dogs like about to eat poop, I look over and I see just Emmy and Matilda sitting across from each other, and poop sitting right between them. And Emmy looks in Matilda's eyes and looks down and looks up shyly. And Matilda looks up at Emmy and then looks at the poop and takes a little shy lick. And Emmy takes a small bite. And it's all that was missing was some like violin, candles. I felt like I was interrupting a moment when I had to stop them, but it was great. It was dogs eating poop, but I thought it was so romantic, or at least it had the potential to be. Because like if you read between the lines enough, like anything can be queer.